Hi guys, we are back. So we used an hour and then we're timed out, but we're back again to continue the conversation. It really got, you know what? I know when I say I'm like, oh, it's going to be for 30 minutes, but because of how dear this topic is, we exceeded an hour of the conversation and we're going to continue now. We're talking about developing a reading culture, but we're looking at it now from the point of the government. What's the responsibility of the government in promoting a good reading culture in Nigeria? Because we have realized that it's not just about what individuals or NGOs can do. It starts from the family. We agree. From the family, you should develop your children. You should build that culture on your children, or with your children rather. In your children, that's the correct thing. In your children, but you also we can't underestimate the role the government has to play in promoting this reading culture, especially for those areas that are underserved. The We're back.
Hi. Thank you very much, Hope.
So I was just saying, when I started, I was
Yeah,
like, okay, today we should just spend like 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
yeah,
To my surprise,
yeah.
this conversation is even taking.
It's I don't in all honesty, right? I don't think we can even finish this conversation in probably three.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
something that probably we'll just have to just talk as much as we can and try to see how we can also advocate while we're even talking, advocate to actually even get some other people's point of views. In my head, I'm also thinking that I know there are some people that actually have libraries, private libraries that they get people to come into. Have they been
really.
able to? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So have they been able to sustain it? Because I
Mm.
know, just like when I was doing, I was the head administrator of that music school. Paying for services like art and music, it's like people they don't, should I say, fancy or honor it. They feel it's just like, it's not reading. Why will you say I need to come and pay to read books? To join a book club, I need to pay and all of that. So I know they may have that issue. So how are these people able to like cope with it and actually set up this library? That's what I'm even thinking, because I think this conversation is still boiling down to the education system, but
Yeah,
what
yeah.
angle reading, writing, literacy, basically literacy level, and how we can actually attend to it. So just going to the other point, I think
Yeah.
aside the lack of funding that we get from government, another thing is also what do you call it? The language barriers that we have.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you've attended probably not Lagos,
Network.
not FCT. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
I was saying if you visited the states, not FCTO, not Lagos,
We went
like
to
go.
Ibadan to do library. You should ask us how many children understood the English we were speaking.
You see, and the truth is, you won't blame them because some of them actually get taught in their local languages, say
Even the
Yoruba.
teachers, you know what? So now there's an argument about, okay, are the Nigerian languages actually vernacular? They are our languages. English is not our language. There's a conversation around that, but let's not forget the fact that the educational system, English has been adopted as our second, as our official language. So that's what you should speak. We go to those
Yeah,
schools and you see the teachers even speaking Yoruba to themselves. You see them speaking Yoruba to the children. Laura, go and buy me rice. This, go and do this. Go
yeah,
and clean the board.
yeah,
Oh yeah, submit MO assignment, and all of that. And you're forgetting that those children are going to write
yeah,
examinations that are written in
yeah,
English. And they are right, their counterparts are in other parts of Nigeria, private schools too, who speak English. So you can tell them that, oh, Yoruba is not vernacular, Yoruba is my language. Are you going to go to an office and be speaking
yeah.
Yoruba and be working in Yoruba,
No.
unless you want to work in the ministry in Oslo State or something?
So
So
great. So I just saw that I noticed my friend just joined, Rachel Osho joined, and I also noticed Teens Dream
Dreams
Collab also joined.
collab,
Thank
yeah.
you for joining. Yeah.
Thank you
So
guys.
about that, I think language is also another barrier to the development of reading culture in our society. just like you explained, you go to the West, they are probably taught in Yoruba. You come to the North, they are being taught in
Yes,
Hausa. You
in
go
Hausa. They go to the East, they are teaching mathematics in Igbo.
in Igbo. So
And
when
then
you
that
now,
child will see it in WAEC. Emeka is 60 degrees away from the disc. It works at a trajectory of 20 kilometers per hour. How exactly do you want that child to do well as compared to somebody else who is in a private school and speaking British
yeah,
English? And then you
yeah,
realize that the divide in Nigeria, it keeps getting wider and wider. I'm
it
wondering why.
says. It says, and take for instance, we look at books. If we're talking about books, materials, most of the books we have in Nigeria are
English.
written in English. So you now give a book to someone who speaks probably only Ibibio and understands Ibibio. Now tell him to read probably Chike Goes to School, or Eze Goes to School rather.
Eze goes to school, yeah.
English, or
Or
you
things
have
fall apart.
things fall apart. Okay, I think some of those books may have been translated, but how many books are being translated to our local languages? So you
Is
see that,
biology translated to our local language? What is intestine in Ibibi? Oh, yeah, tell me. Do you know what? This question I asked you now reminds me of what I did to my grandmother. So my grandmother is late now, but I used to be very close to her when she was alive, and she fell sick and came to stay with us in Abuja in her last days, and I was very close to her. So one day I asked her that, Granny, what is manufacturer in Igbo? The woman looked at me like she didn't even know what I was talking about. Basically, she was looking at me like, what are you saying? And
you see that it's a real barrier. So I think that's another challenge with getting people to actually have that reading culture. Then another thing I think is also like a barrier is the age where we're living in. We live now. It's not like I'm talking down or saying the jet age, computer age is not good. Of course, it is good, because take for instance, we're communicating. You're all in the way in Lagos.
Yeah. That's true.
So it's really good. But another thing it has done to us is like we're like the microwave generation now. So instead of us to go for deep dive, we're like skimming around the water. So everybody just wants to imagine
a little bit of everything.
Of everything. But have you noticed that I did a study, a friend of mine, if we post something that has a great picture and has large content of reading, do you know people won't read it?
I just like the picture. People just. I've noticed
just like the picture.
When you put yes, because even it applies to me as a person, and also WID-AFRICA social media handles.
Yeah.
So when we post things about this program, and you are putting information like hard content. I call them hard content now because I realize that the audience are not we're not the same frequency. All the kind of hard content now, people, I don't know why, but you see like 2 likes, 10 likes, 15 likes. But post a picture, just take a very good picture or video. Like the video I posted about you that were dancing, where we had the spelling bees. When I posted initially about the spelling bees, it didn't get as much engagement as it got when I posted children dancing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That one, I don't know why. When we need to conduct deliverance or something.
I just there are lots of things calling to our attention. On my phone, I have Instagram installed. I have Twitter installed. I have I've not gone to Snapchat and all those TikTok yet. I've updated, but I have Instagram. I have WhatsApp. I have Facebook. All of these things are calling for my attention, and they are coming with a variety of information overload, if you want to think. And I need to know that, okay, this one is WhatsApp, I switch to WhatsApp quickly, I switch to Twitter, I switch to this. So lots of people, and that's another problem on Twitter as well. You see, before you can understand what is trending, you must go down and scroll. And there's a real problem. I think they're even talking about it. I think what's his name? The maker of Twitter, Jack, said before you retweet or post, read and verify. And that's one thing people don't do. Because They just see something like, okay, the president is going to Saudi Arabia with a private jet or something. People really don't read to understand and see why is he doing this. They just say, hey, this is how our government always do, blah, 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 blah. Then they retweet. So I could just pick a segment and talk about it. No one will go check for the main news. No one goes to look at it and say, what's the content of these things? Is this person taking the thing out of context, or is the person really
not?
So all of that, I think it has to do with like the generation we are in, right? It's like the microwave generation, so it's hard to get our attention. So that's something I think requires probably discipline on our own part, because it's not like magic. We can't wave a magic wand, and say, okay, you start reading. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, basically.
It doesn't happen. Yeah, so I think those are, for me, those are the challenges I feel we have. The first one, which is the low economy that we have. We don't have a large amount of population that can't afford these books, can't afford to buy books for their children. So I think that's a major problem. Then two, we also there's a lack of funding in terms of from government. Yeah, and that lack of funding has to deal. Yes, it has to do with that.
Okay, back now.
Okay, great. Okay, so I was saying lack of funding. So we pay more attention to science-oriented subjects than we do art. So I think that has to change. Then another thing is the language barrier that we have. So language is a strong barrier to our learning and literally developing a good reading culture. Then I think, yes. Then another thing is also, okay, I stated here the system, our generation. What our generation wants right now is like sharp. What do I want to get? What can I get from it right now? So that microwave thinking that we have is also a problem. So in terms of how can we develop it, I know we've mentioned a few that you noted down, but I think also first it starts with our attitude, changing the attitude that this course is not superior to this one is not superior. You can you can choose to be a writer and you are still relevant and you are still adding to the growth and the development of our economy. That's one. Then I think another thing we also need to do is invest in education. I can't stress this. We need to invest in education as a whole. This is not just talking about building a library right now. It's more
than the library.
You can hear me, Hope.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I think okay, great. So I think building a library is like the first start. Okay, how about now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay, so I think investing in education is another thing that is key in terms of developing a good reading culture. So let children and let students be able to, like, I just remember that there used to be a time where each district to have their own library.
Yeah.
Excuse me. For instance, I'm staying around Karo. Karo has his own district library. I'm staying around Apo. Apo has their own. Metama has their own. So a child can just walk and go to a library. It doesn't have to go so far and you say, okay, I want to, I have this time.
I will be able to I will be safe in this period that now being on your own means that you're inviting rapists. I will be safe to read.
Talking about that, God, honestly, it's if there was a live, well, God rest our soul. I don't want to really. Yeah, God rest our soul. But that's something that I think will also help out. Yeah, I think that will also help out. So another thing is also, aside building the library, we must also furnish it with books. relevant books, so not the
Relevant
kind,
books,
not the one
recent books.
gave me that time that were reading about CBN and
You
laws
know
and
that
regulations.
was another challenge that we had, a bit that we have experienced, because we make calls for donations, donate books, donate both used ones. But I realize that people tend to go and bring books of 19, I don't know, books that are no longer relevant, they are no longer in use. They are not,
That's,
I don't know,
I think that's
without
another
and all
thing.
of that.
That's
So
another
we
thing
have
we
to,
need to
it makes
talk
the work
about.
difficult when we are sorting these books to actually. So maybe when we realize that, we have 1,000 books donated. When we actually want to now go and donate to the schools, we realize that after sorting, the useful books will not be more than maybe 200 of the remaining junk.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think we need to actually specify because that
I,
book, this thing.
I don't
I
know,
think
it's
some
very
people.
frustrating. I want to also ask you, is there any organization that maybe all this, you are into the environment, and all, is there any organization that can use old paper, like waste paper, to recycle it into something useful?
Of
Or
course, of
how do
course.
we dispose of that? Because we have
Yeah.
those kind of books, and most times we end up probably burning them or something. But I've just been wondering, is there any board that we can actually pass it to, so that it's not just be a
Yes.
waste? Let people who
Yeah.
donated, let
Yeah.
them at least.
You know.
Wow.
You know. Okay. First thing, yes, there is a way to dispose of your papers sustainably. Papers can be recycled, like 100% can be recycled, and they actually give you value for your money as well, even though it's not
Wow.
so rich. Yeah.
Big,
So please
yeah,
bring
yeah.
two. I think we need to talk about that thing. Like some people feel when they are coming to donate book is like dumping. So they just come
Mm-hmm.
dump everything, both the workbooks,
The one that they've already marked. Hey, God.
so you're now struggling with, you're now sorting. So it takes, like, I remember when we did ours, it took lots of time for us to sort,
You
and
have
there
to
was,
sort. Like, at a point, I
yeah,
was thinking like something that would just take maybe an hour max and will be done.
oh
I
no,
ended up having to get refreshment because for students who came, I had to get refreshment. I had to, oh, sorry, oh, this. You can see them
yeah,
sweating. Hey, God.
yeah.
And it made me feel bad, especially for our
Hmm,
the first project we did. I felt bad because we had already communicated to the school principal that, we already have
yeah.
donations of about, we gave him a number of about
Hmm,
this number of books. I think it was 2,000
hmm.
something, maybe 1,000 something.
Yeah,
We already communicated that.
yeah,
And after
yeah.
sorting, the books are not up to. And I remember
That,
that it was almost causing a sort of discord, because the man's expectations are already high, and he seemed to have
mm,
been disappointed that
let
they,
me.
you know.
The truth is not your fault because I still remember there was a donation I got that, like, almost all the book. It was a big sack tied. I was like, wow, God has blessed us. When I
He
opened
was so happy.
it, what I saw, I could only salvage how many books? Probably one or two. And I had to start looking for how to deal with those papers. So it's a real issue. I think it's something that even though when we're sending the when we're putting out the call, we stated fairly used book,
Fairly
story
used
book,
books, but wait, do
educational
we have
books.
to now start saying, oh, fairly used though, but it should be relevant between this year and this year, between
I
this. And
I
because
think
we're eager to get those donations, some people
yeah,
actually called me to say, oh, I've not had time to sort the book, so my children, this and that, they are books at this primary school, and I'll be like,
mm,
okay, just we'll come and pick them up, we'll sort them. I think maybe I was also
mm,
buying work for myself, because I
yeah,
didn't want the sorting
yeah,
to now be a
mm,
reason why people would not
they
donate. So if
don't.
I now put it on you to say, okay, sort, and then you don't
True,
get to find the time to sort, and then the conversation just ends there,
true,
we don't conclude
true.
on it, okay, don't worry, we'll come and pick it up, and then you now see us
Yeah.
dragging Ghana must goes of books, and we'll come and post it, and we'll just do a brief count and say, oh, thank you. Then this person, so person donated 500 books to the education
Yeah.
paper campaign today. Thank you so much, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But well, I,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to manage that.
Well,
How to manage,
I
because there
think,
were reasons behind the accepting, and then I don't know.
yeah, I think we'll just do our best. They should just bring it. But like you said, when you put too much burden on someone that is trying to do you a favor, it's very
Yeah,
few people who take their time. So please, they should bring it. If they have books, they should bring it. So,
maybe we'll have a
and
career path that is book sorting.
right,
I meant that on a light note, though.
Yeah, I understand. So another thing is to develop a good reading culture in our society. Still, I think it has to.
Network is from person.
Aside equipping the school with the
Okay, so
library,
I think you should
we
come. You should go over that again. We lost you for a
okay,
few seconds.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. So I was going to say about developing
not
a
again.
good reading. How about now?
Okay, now it's better. I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So I said another thing I think we can do is not just putting the library, but putting timetable, putting library time on in like putting it in our educational system. That this is time for this is time for, and I'm not talking about library time being time for what do you call it, club time. Those are two different things. I
Things
think
entirely.
every child, be it in science, be it in art, be it in commercial, they need to have time to go to the library and say they sit with a book. They sit with a book and say, okay, I'm reading this book. There are lots of, aside from the fact that, okay, reading is good to help you build your literacy level and all of that, there are lots of benefits for reading. Of course,
Yeah,
you and I know that when you read a book, it helps you relax, it helps you build your concentration. It helps you build
yes,
your
so
vocabulary. And there are so many benefits of reading a book. I think that's another subject probably you have to take on
as
one of
in
these days to actually highlight and point out, what do you call it, the benefits of reading. So people can
of
actually
reading.
understand that this is why we read. This is why we should read. So hello. You remember you mentioned about working the National Library working to actually enforce this reading or the library time in the schedule. I think it's something that should be actually worked on. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think another thing which will be probably, let's say, I still have some, but okay, let me run through it because I have like a few. So I think another thing
Okay.
still on foundation will be for parents to actively participate in this reading. Is
Yes, I read somewhere that babies can
yeah,
hear from a few months of pregnancy. So I
yes,
was
yes,
suggesting earlier before you joined me in the first session that we had that okay, when you're already a few months pregnancy, pre-month pregnant rather, and you've got to that point of the tenure where you know the child can hear, you can begin to read. When you have a baby, all these things watching movies, maybe you should begin to practice them. Start reading to the baby. Start reading to your child to sleep. I watch movies where people read to their children to sleep.
yeah.
But in Nigeria, it's oh yeah, go and sleep, go and sleep, go and lie down, put on the light, close your eyes, go and sleep.
It's
We're adopting other parts of the movie about romantic proposals,
mm,
spraying
mm,
petals.
but
We are adopting other parts of their culture. But the
yeah,
important one now that will make us better. I've not seen anybody that has adopted it. I don't know if people do that in Nigeria, but it's my
the
own no,
the
from where my own family house that I grew up in. There was nothing like that.
I
And
think
I'm here to see.
I think the new generation parents are actually seeing the effect or the benefits of reading to their children bedtime stories. Now, the truth is this: books, say Harry Potter, can be summarized to a small book with lots of pictures telling
Yeah.
about that same story. There are some books I read growing up as a child. I already knew the background of the story because I read the concise children level of that one. So when I
Mm.
was going to school to like read the big one, I was like, I know where this story is heading to already. So I had a better
Yeah.
understanding of it, which I feel is very good because a child can remember. Ah, I think that's just another thing to start talking about the benefits of
Of
reading
reading.
to kids. It's really really good, and I feel we should talk about it. Maybe not on this session, maybe another session.
Another
Yeah, because
session, yeah.
the benefits are overwhelming. They are very much. They are very much. So so the next one will be it will be to also create a routine. I think when we are talking about this culture thing, it has to do with both parents. We both parents and the government have rules. While the
Yeah,
government
yeah,
providing the infrastructure, the parents too need to help out because if you don't put, especially children, if you don't put them into a routine, it's very easy for them to drift, to do
yeah.
whatever. So when you're putting them into a routine and you say, okay, this time is recess, this time is for games, this time is for reading. After reading, not just reading, not just telling them that this is for you, you read. You would there's something that there's this lady that has a book club. She does this reading challenge where she gets kids to read like 30 books and get to journal it.
Oh,
So after
is it
reading it,
the? She's in Abuja, Abi.
yes, she's in
I
Abuja.
think I've seen her
Yes,
post sometime. I'm
yes.
I'm
Young
trying to remember
Readers,
her handle.
Young Readers
Young
Library.
Readers Library. Yeah, 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 yeah. I've seen it.
That is a way of like not just saying I read this book, but what did you learn from the book? What are you able to tell about the book? So
The
it could
book,
be
yeah.
just very easy about them saying, okay, it's not good to be a cheat. If you're a cheat because this person was a cheat, this happened to him. That goes a long way.
A
That's
very
already
long way.
It's already teaching the child about morality, about the benefits of good and evil, or the consequences rather of good and evil, which I feel is very, very good for kids and for our nation as we're growing. So another thing I think is also good is to also encourage. We just spoke about Young Readers Library, and they have that thing called the 30 book challenge. I think we need to encourage writing and other forms of communications in terms of like
Mm.
spelling bees, all of this. You can't say you're going for any of those competitions and you're not a good
I will not
student of
prepare.
you don't prepare and you don't read and you don't write. So I think having those what do you call it? Having those competitions will help spark that interest for the kids. So the kids will now be like, oh, I and give them rewards too. Reward them for what they are doing. If a child goes through a competition, just the fact that they won and they are able to probably get a set of books, I think it's fulfilling. I think it's
Yeah.
fulfilling. So I would really say we should encourage that. Then I think just two more points. Another thing is still the educational system. We spoke about this earlier on, so I think I should just pass. But we still need to enhance our educational system. Then the final one for tonight will be for us to train and advocate for librarians because
Yes.
there is, like
So,
you said, you can't do it all as an NGO,
mm,
even as an we don't have the funding so much. We could have funding from here, from there, but when something needs to be sustainable, it means there's someone on ground that will take care of it. That means you're
yeah.
not really depending too much on the volunteers because volunteers have works to do, they have other engagements to work on. So I think training teachers or training librarians who will also get the kids interested in reading is also a good
In
one.
reading, yeah, yeah, that's
What
true. That's
been
true.
good.
If that
Yeah.
librarians, counselors, they need to, I don't know, they
Yeah.
need to be
Now,
strengthened in schools.
yeah,
They need to be strengthened in schools and
yeah.
qualified people. So I I had series
True.
of counselors in while I was schooling, but that particular man
That's another
that
table you
helped me
want to
make a choice. You
I,
say?
that's a table you want to shake because I can tell you for free that lots of people that are in our educational system are not there because that's their first choice. It's because of the
Yes.
situation.
So people who I
Yes.
don't know, all these people are taking. You know that people are now being counselors. People are coaches now. You're saying life coach. I coach this. I
Yes.
coach that. I coach this. Because that seems to be the niche that is profitable. So why don't you get people who will be passionate about coaching children to make the
Mhm.
right choices in school, and let them actually go through the make this a profession. Don't just come and be doing it on IG. It's just that people
Mm.
don't want to be locked up. People don't want, as I said before, people don't want to go leave certainty and go for uncertainty. Even if I have a passion to coach, and then I can coach children well and all. But I realized that that is not a profitable line. I would tweak it to an audience that will be able to pay me for my services and
I
all. So
agree.
there's now there are no qualified people who actually love what they do, who are counselors that love what they do in schools. So you have very judgmental people. They are the most judgmental. They are the ones who are harsh, and there's no time. There's that counselor's office is not even a safe space. It's supposed to be a safe space for me to come and express myself, my confusion and all. But it's no longer a safe space for people to come and speak. So you find people who are coming and then they are not even passionate. It's just a means to an end. It's just a source of living for them. I'm a school counselor and all. Imagine if I didn't have that counselor in school when I was getting into senior secondary school. I wouldn't have been bold enough to decide to go to the social sciences class. And then I don't know who I'll be today. Maybe I'll have that identity crisis. I'll be struggling to fit in. Or I'll be one of people that I used to call them medical accountants to finish doing one engineering course and now suddenly get a job in the bank. I realized some people had that passion right from time. But because of the whole feeling that, social science or art is not good enough, they will think I'm not as intelligent. Okay, so let me just go. And then there's that counselor there. Apart from that man I met, that counselor I first met, who advised me to go for social sciences, when I wanted to fill my JAMB form, I actually we had a new counselor in school then, and then I went to meet her. And I went to that when she asked me that, what do you think I can do? I'm like, I'm thinking of either law or accounting. And she told me, for law, get ready, you have to read. You have to read. My daughter is studying law, and if you see the book, you have to read. Can you read like that? I told
She was already scaring you away.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. People who are qualified. Don't just go and do guidance and counseling in school because you didn't gain admission for the course that you want. But people who are really qualified, have the zeal, have the passion, and I don't know how else to explain, what I'm actually trying to put out there.
And I understand. And I think I'm even jealous of you now that you actually had the benefit of having a counselor that walked now, honestly, because that person was there to walk you through this life changing decision you were going to make, and it was able to tell you that, okay, what are your interests? It started from the basic things. It's not superimposing that can you read, can you not read like the other person did, but I actually got to find out, to know about you, which is something even me, I was quite skeptical when I was going into senior school. Do I want to do?
Okay, we'll have you back now.
Okay, great.
We'll have you back
so
now.
for me,
here.
Okay, great. I was saying for me, I was skeptical. Which is the choice I'm going to make? Is it commercial or arts related courses? Yeah, I wasn't sure. So I was just thinking, I just decided on my own that, okay, I really enjoy reading books, and I really excel in English and government. And I decided by myself, and I said, okay, let me go for this. But imagine if I had a counselor who actually talked me through. Probably I wouldn't have gone for this, and I would have gone for probably a commercial course like you did. So I think it's really essential to have guidance and counselors, and also the position of librarians in our educational system too. It's key.
And apart from science and art and all, I feel like some courses need to be taught across all all divisions. Like when you talk about financial literacy, that's why we actually take it. Can you hear me? That's why we make it a point of visit to promote financial literacy. Not because I have a background in accounting and I can't let go of that. Because you now realize that, people are focused on pure science, you're an engineer, you are a medical doctor, and then you don't have that basic knowledge of, how to manage your finances. It's not even a matter of studying accounting. Financial literacy, I don't know how else to. You can study, you can be a banker and still not know how to manage your own personal finances. So all those kind of skills, we need to also improve on that. Then when we talk about basic health care, you should bring that also to not just basic biology, but other practical topics. Bring it also to the social science and the art sessions. So when you're talking about things like Ebola, remember that Ebola time and they told us to go and bathe in salt.
Drink the salt, gargle it, and it's going to cure you. And that never happened.
or this COVID-19 now, I'm sure people have drank a lot of concussion, just that we probably
Yeah,
wouldn't know because we didn't take it,
yeah,
but people have done
yeah,
all those sort of things. So
yeah.
I feel like, apart from the GST, I know we do GSTs of English, we do GSTs of philosophy in school, they need to bring all those things to make the syllabus
Yes.
more robust, so that people can come out and be rounded. So I'll not just be one-sided because
Mm,
I didn't do science or because
mm,
I think that would, when we have such equal playing grounds in those kind of areas, it makes it easy to
yeah,
see the value. So I know that, okay, I'm
yeah.
not losing anything if I go for what I really want to do because I will still get this other basic
Mm,
knowledge along
mm.
the way. And I'm really grateful. I'm really thankful. I know if we can go on and on and on and on and on. We have 1 hour already, and
Yeah.
then this other one. I'm really, I don't know, I don't want to say, oh, let's do a part 3 because we'll keep on having several parts. It has really been an engaged and a very interesting conversation with you
Thank you very much.
so far.
Thank you very much.
And now I want to challenge you to do an article on all that we have discussed.
Oh, I'm willing.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even mind us posting it on our blog, say, because I don't know if you know, we now have a functional website, so we can even post it there. So people who,
That's great.
I don't know,
That's
I'm
great.
looking for ways to, get people to hear or read, either by watching us live or maybe they'll start reading about it. But let's just start get it out there that we need
Mm,
we need to help the educational sector in Nigeria. Something needs to be
yeah,
done because
yeah,
the way as things are
yeah,
going, if the government does not take action, families do not take action, individuals do not take action, things will get worse than they already are. For how many
yeah.
months now? Children have not been in school. Not everybody has access to the internet. Not everybody is going to be. So what? How would they be when they come back? When they resume? The conversation is
It's
unending. Actually, it's unending.
if we open it, it's like a Pandora box. So we'll see lots of things coming out, and we don't even know where to start
Yeah.
from. But I think just like you mentioned earlier, the first thing is about investing more in our educational system. We need to
Yes.
invest and get qualified people too. If there is investment in that system, you will see people. I remember my parents used to tell me that there was a time that teachers were like demigods. So if you
Yes.
see
Now.
it walking, my dad said there was one teacher that lived in it. If he has not, if you see the teacher coming through this way, you're going that way because of the honor and respect they gave to the teachers.
Do
Hey,
you?
like, hmm. So
Yes,
but
I think that's what it used to be, but now the teaching profession is even looked down. But
it's
I think that's
all
what NGOs like Teach for Nigeria are trying to change, And I
okay.
actually like their program because they take out time to train the people. The people are coming to join them in teaching education. I think they have
Hmm.
like a partnership with Babcock University or something. So you go through,
Great.
finish, go through the program and come out having that qualification. So that if you want to continue
Oh,
in
that's
teaching
great.
line, you are qualified. I
That's
think
great.
you know what? I think the government needs to actually consult more and partner more with organizations like CSOs and all who are doing because there are ideas out there, but they just need to be amplified.
Yeah.
Their ideas just need to
Yeah.
be amplified, and if you do it on a larger scale, it will have good impact.
Yeah.
When you have such investments in the education sector, people will be willing to go and train as teachers, as counselors. They'll
Yeah.
be willing to do that as librarians.
Yeah.
They'll be willing to
Yeah.
it will make things better. I don't know. Maybe you can suggest ways that we can promote this conversation even outside of this IG live. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know how to do Twitter so much. All people that will tweet at so and so.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what's happening here and all of that? And if there
Yeah.
are other organizations that you think will be interested in this conversation, how to actually push it out there and
Yeah.
advocate for it, I think is a good step. We can actually do
Yeah.
something around that. Don't forget, we're
Yeah.
trying not to leave anyone behind. So we could actually make communal efforts. People
Yeah.
might know somebody who is going to hear us and listen to us and make a
Yeah.
change. Let things get better, not worse.
Yeah. I think for about that, I think yeah, we as people, we as adults, we could actually be the change. And being the change doesn't mean I always tell people you don't need to have 100 billion before you can change
Mm-hmm.
something. You have a knowledge, like you can take it to your community around and tell these people, okay, I have this knowledge. Okay, come, I want to teach people how to do so and so. That's talking about training people. That's I think
Yeah.
that's a change. So this like
Network.
to run into it's going to just. Did you get that? I was talking about the library that we built.
No, no, no. I wanted to go over it again. I didn't hear you.
Okay.
It
So I
froze,
was
yeah.
okay. So I was saying, um, causing a change in a community doesn't mean you need to have 100 billion in your account. If you have a knowledge, you could just go into your community and get people around and teach them something. You could go into a school and volunteer that, okay, I have breaks or I have something, I have a break time during this. I can come to this place and just tell people about this. That's the change we all need. Like for this library that we built here, the lady that we both chaired or headed the building the distance. She actually came up with a proposal where we're going to come into the school bi-weekly to come
Mm.
and teach them about not just reading, but about developing. And it was something that was really, really nice. But the COVID-19 pandemic actually changed it because we really wanted, we're really interested in it, and we are still interested in it. And we're going
Interested.
to, yeah, we're going to work on something of actually being able to assess these kids. Of course, it's going to take a long while, but we would start them up with something like, okay, can give them sheets. Can they read and understand what is written? Okay, write it down, what they think about it. After 3 months or six
Yeah.
months, give them the same assessment, see how much they've improved. So we know it's going to take our time. We know it's going to take our finances because we're going to be printing books. We're going to be printing short materials for them to read and understand. And that's just something that we feel that we can, that's the little we can do in the development of
Yeah.
Nigeria. And we're really interested and want to do
Yeah,
that.
keep me
Yes.
posted about it, please. It's something
Yeah.
I think would go a long way. And
Yeah.
I think we have to also look for ways of engaging the children outside of just basic reading and writing, especially those in underserved communities. I
Mm,
told you before at the beginning that one thing I keep thanking God for is the fact that I had the opportunity of going to Gifted because it changed a
mm,
lot for
yeah.
me as a
Yeah.
person. So imagine if I had actually just continued in Army Day. I don't really
Yeah.
know.
The network is. Hello, can you hear me?
Talk went up
Yeah.
for a bit
Okay.
and all. So that's what I'm
Okay.
passionate about, us just going to tell them there's more out there. Most of them don't even have that mindset of okay, I can actually be somebody more better
Mm,
than what my parents have said, better than this, I
mm,
can be more than
mm,
this. So it's not just about reading writing. There has to be change, a mindset
yeah.
change. But I believe
Yeah.
gradually we'll get there. As I said before, education is a long-term investment. We'll not see
Yeah.
it
It
wow,
is.
overnight. We have to do it
Yeah. It
gradually.
is.
Thank you,
All
Annie.
right.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
Do you have any
Thank you,
last
Hope,
words?
for having.
I promise I will not
Okay.
interrupt you again.
Okay, I'll just like to first thank you, Hope, for having me.
Yeah.
I think this has made me really go and even dig. Oh, of course, I did a bit of research, but I also thought about what have I learned from learning, and I've been able to give part of my understanding of what I think about reading. And thank you for giving me that opportunity. I also like to thank everyone who joined,
Good joy.
every
Yeah.
single joined this live, and we're so grateful to having you, for you to listen to us. And thank you again, Hope.
Yeah, thank you too for joining us. Thank you for making me realize that it's not just me. Sometimes you just get so carried away with you. Oh God, why is this? Why you think that is it just me? Is it that nobody else is seeing? So thank you. It's a very interesting conversation that we've had. I enjoyed today's one. I think even more than last week's one because today's one was
Oh,
more. Yeah, I think
it,
it's
it
like
can
fine
make you.
wine. Like I feel like old wine is getting better. How is that safe? And all of that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome, Hope. All right
Yeah, have a
then.
good week
Bye.
ahead. Bye.
You
Take care.
too. You too.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining. going to have another episode a lot. If you didn't start from the beginning, you can catch up the replay. It will be posted. Thank you so much. Bye.